It sounds so scary when the computer voice comes on and says shit.
I consent to being recorded.
I don't.
Hello, we're back. This was your idea. Ah,
Okay. What
hi,
are the
we're
rest
back.
of?
We're
Yeah, we are back.
unsupervised.
We are.
Susie got some wine.
I do.
I do not.
I I have wine drunk. Susie is kind of funny. I've been told.
Wine drunk Susie is extremely funny.
So
I have
here we
witnessed.
go. Especially when I'm drinking the wine and I don't like the taste of it, but I refuse to waste it, so I keep drinking it.
Let's see your I don't like it face. You look like
It's awful.
in the beginning of Wizard of Oz when she's the angry schoolmarm, the Wicked Witch is the angry schoolmarm with the pinched up face like she just bit a lemon.
Oh yeah.
That was you just now.
That's kind of how it feels, really. I'm hoping that as I continue to drink that it'll get more tolerable, but I
The
doubt it.
more you drink, the better it tastes, baby. That's what he
It's
said.
all lies.
So tonight, whenever you're watching, we're talking about origin stories. Dun, dun, dun. And what does that mean, Susie?
It's our origin stories.
Hmm.
So it's going to be a little bit witchy shit, and it's going to be a little bit weird coincidence synchronicity stuff with us because we
Maybe
we talked about the cult aspect of things, but we've never talked about the dreams that led to the cult.
we have not talked about the dreams that led to the cult aspect of things because the dreams were separate from the cult aspect,
Correct.
except that we discovered that we were having similar dreams in the cult.
Yes.
Yes.
And we call it a cult, but I mean,
It wasn't really a cult, but it's where
was
we met and it's funny.
it was a cult of
It's
personality more than
it's
anything.
funnier when you say it's a cult
It
than a
is.
group.
It's way funnier.
It's way
But kind
funnier.
of creepy too. It makes it sound like
Yeah.
movies or something. But
We were so way cooler than Moonies. We were more like angry women that just didn't have direction.
two women left unsupervised.
And here we are again. It's all just a circle. Circle of life.
Circle of life.
Okay, so why don't you tell the people how you started with all this witchy shit
Um,
and what witchy shit?
well, I mean, do you want to hear it from like when I was a kid, and all the ghosty stuff, or
No, like when you were when you started practicing. Let's start from there because otherwise it'll be like, well, back in 1162 in my second life.
back when
Way back in the way back when we were
way
the
back
clan
in
of
the
the
way
cave
back
bear.
so yeah, I guess it started, I mean, teenage years, really. I always was kind of into the witchy stuff and the macabre
Yes.
stuff, and
Yeah.
one of the interesting things I found out, because my mom was always like, "Oh, I want to be a witch because I want to cast spells on people," and I was like, "That's not right."
How it
But
works. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so it was interesting because in my house growing up, we had all these books on witchcraft and like I Ching and the tarot. I still have the tarot book, and the I can't remember the name of the book, but it's out of print now and it's a first edition hardcover. And somewhere I still have the slipcover to it. And yeah, so I've run in some weird circles, and one of my friends was a satanic priest, and he saw the book and he was just like, "Oh my god, I've never seen this book in person,"
Mm.
and actually held it. And I was just like, really? So it's always been there. It's always been this ubiquitous element in my life. And it
Mm.
turns out that my dad was the one that had all those books. My dad was the one studying all the occult stuff.
Your father.
Yeah, my dad, the
My
count.
much older boyfriend.
Your much older boyfriend.
Hmm. Tell him I approve.
Well, that was the funny thing because I was just like, oh yeah, and I was talking with him the one day, and I was like, yeah, mom and all her like witch books, and he goes, what witch books? I was like, well, all those books that were like in the basement and stuff, and he starts laughing. He goes, those were my books, and I was like, no, they weren't. And he goes, why do you think they had my stamp on them? I was like, because I figured you just literally stamped anything that had paper.
Oh, sweet.
Like he started laughing. He's like, well, there's that, yes, but those are all my books.
Mhm.
And so yeah, he didn't really mind that I had borrowed a bunch of them,
Acquired.
acquired, somehow migrated them to my place. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, he was, we would get into some like really interesting conversations about, the scientific aspect of
Is
witchery.
this in your teenage years or is this in your adult
This
years?
is in my adult years, but in my teen years, there was all these books, and my
Okay.
parents had no problems with me reading them.
Okay.
And
And so
one of
how
the
did you progress?
I bought a copy of it was the Herb Bible. It's actually right up on the shelf up
Scott
there.
Cunningham.
Yes.
Because my first purchase as a 16-year-old baby witch that I could get my hands on was in the occult bookstore, and it was secondhand, and I still have it. And it's the Herb Bible, Living Wicca, and
Oh no, that's not
it's
this
the
one.
I have the 3 volume set like book. It has the 3 books within it. It's by Scott Cunningham. I think he's a lot of people's introduction.
Hold on one second. Let me see who it's by. I can't tell. It's a paperback.
Okay.
I bought it new at it was a place called Holistic Healing in Honesdale, Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
Which,
mine was the only occult bookstore in Salt Lake City, Utah, that closed soon thereafter.
ooh, mysterious.
Yeah.
Well, this place also closed not long after. Um, it was interesting because in Honesdale, Pennsylvania, which was the birthplace of the American Railroad, FYI, uh, the first steam engine ran in Honesdale, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Fun fact that I happen to know. I
Okay.
Weird shit I picked up along the way.
Okay.
The wine is coming out. So
Yes, because you're rambling.
I am rambling a little bit, but I start getting into the history of places that I've been, and because I find it fascinating. But I was 13 or 14, I think, when I got that book. Wait,
Mhm.
no, I was older than that because I was hanging out with my friend Anne, and she was a
Mhm.
year ahead of me.
Well, my first witch book was one that I got out of the library, and it was called the Encyclopedia of Witchcraft. And it
Nice.
was just like a book about the witch trials and like different kinds of witchcraft and all the ways that women were persecuted and all the ways they found to punish people who didn't quite fit in with society. Um, and they called it witchcraft. But
Yeah, no.
yeah, my first witch book, like actual, here's a manual on how to do things, was Scott Cunningham. He's a great resource for any
I'm
young witch, really.
I'm kind of laughing because I'm like, wow, I never bought an actual witch book until the
Mhm.
last 10 years.
Really?
Really? Because
Huh.
the Herb Bible is literally just for herb identification. It was written in the 70s, and I used it to identify herbs that we had around the house.
Okay, see, I'm calling it the Herb Bible, but it's actually like herbs, brews, and potions or something like that. And it's by
No, this
Scott
is
Cunningham.
it's the Herb Bible, and it's identification and preparation and stuff like that for medicinal uses.
I feel like we should be making a list of the books we're talking about so we can leave Amazon links.
Yeah, we could do that.
So let me get my
Get your
handy dandy notebook
get your pen.
that is never far away. One of my fancy pants pens, aka a charcoal pencil.
Nice.
So we've got Scott Cunningham. You know who else I thought was good? Raymond Buckland. I'll look it up.
Hold on a second. I have I have most of my witch books here, but I also have The Hedge Witch. which I'm finding fascinating, and I'm kind of taking my time reading that one. And then of course I've got like three it's like Green Witchcraft 1, 2, and 3 or something like that.
And Mora,
I think so, yeah.
I have those.
I mean most of my books go more towards like the medicinal use of various herbs and making like medicine. Um
Yeah, see, mine go more towards brewing potions, mixing oils,
yeah.
casting spells, sort of
Well,
things.
they talk about how to get the oils out of them too. So I was
Yeah.
making perfume like way back in the day. Let me see here.
Um,
I
and
have
Mora.
Violet Violet up on my Kindle right now.
Ha, funny. I have Crush Violet.
Nice.
Terravan Flower.
Woo!
That's not a witch book. It's just a vampire book that we love. Um,
Spirits of the Sacred Grove.
yes.
Uh,
The one by Silver Ravenwolf, Spiral. Hmm.
I don't know. I've got a bunch of stuff on chaos magic, like Libernal and Psychonaut and
Yes, so
the
do I.
Apophenian, and um, the third one. I can't remember what it is. Introduction to the Keys of Enoch, and uh, Cyber Magic, I think, is the other one. And then I've got like some books on Pleiadian stuff.
Right.
And of course, that's not what I wanted.
But of course, we have all the crystal books in the world.
Yeah.
And those you have to be careful with because there are some sources that are not reliable. Like they'll say that certain crystals are found in areas where they couldn't possibly be found.
Well, see, that's the funny thing because all of my crystal books are scientific crystal books. So it's like here's the crystal, here's the chemical makeup and the hardness and
Well, and
where
that's why I know that some of the witchy ones are not
yeah,
reliable because I know about the chemical makeup and the hardness and stuff because I learned about crystals from an actual trained
gemologist.
geologist. And then I learned about the magic stuff about them. I would recommend for any baby witch taking a geology course if you're interested in crystals. Definitely.
Yes,
You can
absolutely.
take one in high school or college or whatever level you're at. Definitely take advantage of it.
Um
What else?
yeah, I mean, I've got a bunch of stuff that it's like, Dancing with Nematona and the Path of the Priestess and stuff, but I've never
Path
actually
of the Priestess, I think, is a good one.
is it? I never got through it, so I couldn't say.
Well, because it teaches you more along the lines of, okay, well, this is what we're doing, but why are we doing it? Because
Yeah.
if you figure out the why, then you can go for the what.
The Herbal Alchemist Handbook. Is that the one you're thinking of?
Yes.
And then, of course, there's the Aleister Crowley stuff, which I just find entertaining more than anything.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd recommend that for a baby witch.
I mean, it's good. It's a good read in general, just to see
It
like
is
what it looks like for somebody who's absolutely high and writing
for the
without.
high ceremonial magic.
Oh no, it's
High being the key word.
high, very high.
They were definitely medicated on something.
Oh, no doubt.
Um, but yeah, so we got sidetracked because we started talking
We
books.
did,
But okay,
but it's
so
a good start for anybody finding their own path.
and what I will do is I will leave links in the description to that stuff. Um,
Yes.
and also we should talk about so you're doing this and then so we end up and it's the 2000s and we're on Facebook about what 6 7 years ago,
Yeah.
maybe a little
Is it?
longer.
Oh no, it was right after 2013.
So that's 8 years ago.
Yeah, because
Okay,
I ended up.
have
It
we
was
known
right
each other
after my
eight
mom.
years
Actually, no, it was 2014 because my mom had died in 2013. at the end of 2013. So it was the beginning of, it was either the end
I
of
feel like I
2013.
met you right around the time that your mom passed.
Yeah. It was like right around the end of 2013 or the beginning of 2014. Because
Right,
she
because it
died in at the end of October.
right, because it was right around the time shortly after my father had passed as well. So yeah. Um, but so we are in this group together, hoping to learn more than what we know, thinking that this person had something to teach us, which we did learn.
Mm,
I felt like I learned stuff.
I learned a
Um, but I learned how to better my meditation practice for sure. Um, how to market myself.
I didn't learn
But
that.
so then we start noticing, like in the guided meditations and things that we were doing, we had a lot of similar insights during that. And then we started having dreams.
Well, it started before that for me. Like,
Well, I mean, we
long
started
before.
having the same dreams.
Yeah, I mean, I was probably having the same dreams, we just hadn't met yet.
Yeah,
Um, my
true.
dreams started when I was about 16,
Same.
and,
And what were you dreaming?
I was dreaming about Glastonbury Tor, but I didn't know
Mhm.
that it was Glastonbury Tor because I had never been outside of the country, I'd never seen pictures of it, I didn't even know that something like that existed. Uh,
Right.
so when it came time to pick colleges, I ended up going to Jersey City and seeing the bell tower for the college, and it looks an awful lot like Glastonbury Tor.
It really does.
And I was like, "Holy crap, is this it?" So, my mom was like, "You're going here because it's cheap and I like the fountain." And I said, "Okay." And I didn't really fight it because, I needed to find out, was this the tower that I've been dreaming about? But the tower that
Right.
I've been dreaming about was just the tower. It was up on a hill and there was no other building attached to it. It was just like a bell tower. And
Mm.
people were like, going in and out of it and stuff like that. And it was up on this hill. And for years I dreamt about that, and I dreamt about a nearby Stonehenge type thing, but it wasn't Stonehenge. It was a Stonehenge
Right.
in the forest, and it wasn't bluestone. It was something else. It was like a granite, and
By bluestone, she means the priestly bluestone that
yeah,
the formations at Stonehenge are built of.
yes, and the Stonehenge that I was seeing was more of like a white granite with with like black flecks in it,
Yes.
and I remember there was like an abandoned castle or something near that Stonehenge. And I could just make out like the top of it over the trees. Like it was all in this like overgrown kind of foresty area.
Mm.
And, when I was in these dreams, I was always flying, which was interesting because
Mm.
I am terrified of heights. So me flying, yeah, not happening.
Can't even get the woman on a plane without.
You can't even get me on a step ladder. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
I I am the
Well, I
person
mean,
who will not jump on the couch because I'm terrified of
well, I
heights.
mean, at least on a plane, you can't really even see what you're.
That's the problem. I can't see and I know that I'm up in the air. I can feel that I'm up in the air and there's no way out. So, no. But but yeah, I was kind of flying over Stonehenge and I heard this voice. It was a male voice and I got the impression that its name was Michael. It was something related to Michael and they said meet me at the tower, meet me at the Avalon.
Mhm.
And it was just like these repeating dreams over and over and over, and it was always like this sequentially recurring dream, and then this Stonehenge and then this castle, and there was this like blue orb that as soon as I got to the entranceway of the castle, this blue orb would like light up in front of me. It was always nighttime and it was always under a full moon, and I'd follow this orb and it would lead me up into like one of the towers, and then there'd be this person sitting at the window looking out, and from the window they could see down onto the Stonehenge,
Right.
and I never got to see their face. I just saw that they were in a white shirt and black pants with dark hair.
Right.
And Is that Trooper?
Sorry. That's Finn. Sorry.
Derp a derp.
Bill will get her.
Maybe.
Continue.
So yeah, I kept having these dreams, these really strange dreams, and I also had weird nightmares around the same time
Mhm.
of basically the I wrote him into a book, into the Immortal War series because he was just
Janos.
yeah, he was so terrifying I had to exercise him.
Mhm.
And so he became a character in my book because he followed me around for years. He was more than just a character in the book, as was Nemesis. Nemesis followed me around for years too, but in a protective capacity. And then I guess I moved enough across running water that they both finally lost track of me. But yeah, it was really weird. And then when I got pregnant with my son, is when the
Mhm.
other dreams started up. And
Which is
which is I was next to the tour. Like the tour dream
Mhm.
started up again. And by then I'd figured out that it was Glastonbury tour. And I was like, okay, at least I know what it is now and that it exists. I'm not crazy ish.
right.
And then much.
I
But
mean, but you are,
but
but
I kind of am.
for the sake of the story,
For the sake of the story, I'm funny, haha. Um,
yeah.
so yes, I'm in this ruin of a church, and I'm with a group of 12 other people. So I'm the 13th person, and we're in this like basement area, and there's all these vines and stuff growing up the walls, and
And the trees.
yeah, like tree roots and stuff. And there's tunnels and I can see like up through the floor, through the roof, like it's just archways, like old
Mhm.
archways. All
Mhm.
and they're like held together with these vines, like ivy vines and stuff. And we're all in the basement of this church and this person like welcomes me and says that it's going to be my job to like wake the rest of the group up. And I'm just like, "What?" And first he's like, you've got a journey ahead. And I was like, yay, I'm already pregnant. Like, what more do you want me to do? So,
Yeah.
like,
I'm
I've
a
got
little
enough,
tired right now.
yeah, kind of busy,
Growing a person.
yeah, growing a person, kind of busy. But, so yeah, he was just basically like, you've got to find these other 12 people and wake them up and help them remember. And I was like, I don't even remember. Like at that point I knew enough and I was with it enough that it was like very lucid dreaming. And I was like, but I don't know. And he's like, you're the life bringer. And I was like, well, yes, I'm pregnant. So thanks, Sherlock. Like, yes, this is going to happen one way or the other. Um,
Right.
but it was also, there was like this city neighborhood. And
Mhm.
after I was flying back over everything, it looked kind of like a mix of Jersey City and like the the Pulaski Skyway and Philly, up by Rittenhouse Square. And it was
So
interesting because there was like all these hedges and they were just like everything looked really dead and I just kind of ran my hand through the hedges and all of a sudden like they started sprouting leaves in my wake. So I was like, okay. And then every time I keep so it's like this sequentially recurring thing where every time I'm back there, it's got more growth. There's like more greenery and there's more people. And I'm always flying though.
you do fly a lot in those. I walk. It's so damn tired, man.
well,
All
it's
I do is walk.
it's weird because it's not like I'm flying, it's like I'm swimming in the air.
Yeah, no, I hear you. But I mean, my dreams started the big hill, which Glastonbury tour. But my dreams really started after I met you. Like I would dream of a forest that couldn't possibly exist because it was like a primordial forest. It was ancient and it was not touched by human hands. You can tell the difference, and I could smell it. I could feel the dirt under my feet, and I could smell the forest and hear the water and feel the sunlight, and the sky was a different blue, and it was just everything was so much brighter.
Yeah, it was a lighter
Um
blue.
yeah, it was, and that's the place I think of as home. And then after I met you, I started dreaming about being in like a cave, not living there, but like having rituals there with other people. I couldn't see all the other people. I could only see 4 or 5 people. Um,
Yeah, like a cave underneath that tower on the
mhm,
hill.
mhm. And then walking along the river with a certain individual singing to the water to help the river be healthy. And sometimes you were there and you looked like you. Your eyes were the same. Um, and then that got weird because you'd had the same dream. The other person had had the same dream about singing at the water and
Well,
correcting the
kind of
course
like
of
our
it.
shtick. Like we were like fertilizer, you know? Like
Yeah.
we'd touch stuff and it would just grow.
Yeah, you guys. Not so much me.
I feel like you were kind of a protector.
Yeah. Well, considering the when the dreams got bad, the stuff there was stuff that happened in the dreams when they got bad that I don't want to discuss. But considering what happened when the dreams got bad, yeah. It's kind of always been my thing. Always been a soldier. I leave the sensitivity to the other people. Although I was doing art back then too. I say back then like it was like last week, but
Yeah. It's
I was
like,
doing art even then and collecting rocks, and I have a
yeah,
thing. I've always had a thing for rocks.
like one of my dreams, and it was interesting because our mutual certain someone verified it for me because I had no
Same.
clue. I was talking with him about it, and he's the one who was like, "Hey," because I was like, "Yeah, I had this like really weird dream about this like ruin of a church or a cathedral or something, and it was near Glastonbury Tor." And he was like, "Oh, this?" And all of a sudden, he sends it, and I'm like, "You have got to be shitting me! That's a real place? Like, I've never been there. I've never seen it."
Hmm.
Even with the internet, it's like I was focusing more on Glastonbury Tour and I was just like fascinated by it. I had no clue there was like stuff around it. And then with with the one dream that I had, so he verified the ruined church, and then he also verified the one dream I had where it was um it was an entire like village up on stilts,
Hmm.
and then all the walkways were like logs tied together, like floating kind of on top of this like marsh. And then you basically got around by boat, but it was like a real flat boat, like wide with sides coming up
Like
and
a barge.
yeah. And that's how you got around, but it was like this peaty marsh. Like you would
Hmm.
sink into it if you fell into it. And I was telling him about that, and I was just like, "This is so bizarre." And I was like, "I had this dream about these like houses up on stilts, and it was these walkways, and if you fell off the walkway or if you fell out of the boat, you just like sink into this, muck." And
Like our tax.
it was very much like that, which I think is
Stupid horse.
it was, it's funny because I'm having my child
Everyone
watch.
of our age is having a flashback right
Oh
now.
yeah,
Like,
everybody is like, "Oh, Jax!"
you
And
stupid horse.
I'm like, "Pull yourself out of it. Come on, you're a horse. It's just mud." But
Anyway.
yeah, so I mean like I've always had this like weird fear of bogs and like marshland because I'm always afraid to sink into it. And then I had this dream about a good friend of mine. He was there too. Like, and it was old, like really, really, really long time ago, and he fell off of one of these walkways into the muck, and I couldn't save him. Like, he was artaxing it. Like, he was just like, "Nope, I'm done. See ya."
It's a mutual friend?
No.
Hmm.
No, and I was just like, "Oh my god," and I woke up crying because I was so sad that this guy just, like, dropped off into the muck and, you know, didn't want to get out of it. Like, he was just like, "No, I'm done now." And I'm like, "But you don't have to be. You can
Yeah.
literally climb out." "Nope, I'm done." So,
Fog of despair.
yeah, the bog of despair, and so our mutual friend was just like, "Oh, yeah, it sounds like the lake village that was around Glastonbury Tor," and I'm like, "What?"
He has an incredible grasp of history.
He does. It's like, and it's almost like it's just very specific to weird
But
shit I
no, he's
read.
like a savant. Like,
Yeah. Like, all of a sudden, he's like, "Oh, yeah, there's a lake village," and I was like,
but
"What?"
it's anything you mention, he's like, "Oh, yes."
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I won't mimic his accent, even though I love to do it just to watch him
I will
roll his eyes
stab
at
you in
me.
the face.
I love to watch him roll his eyes at me when I do it because it's hysterical. Um, I still think he should come visit here just so he can be a god amongst men.
Or is it so you can reenact Mary Poppins?
Well, maybe some of that too, but I'd have to go to England to do that, really.
Yeah.
You know,
We're rambling again.
we
What
are.
let's get back on
My
track.
wine is done, and I need more. So
So should we call it a night?
we can call this one a night. I think part two will be when I refill my wine, and
And what shall we discuss at part two?
I
Let's
guess.
discuss how to meditate and like how to like get deep inside yourself. That's what she said. Um, you
Oh
were
my
thinking it.
god! I'm like, just go to the go to the personal massager section.
I meant deep inside your own psyche, you pervert.
Sometimes
Goddamn
that helps.
preverts.
Sometimes it helps. I don't know.
Sex magic is a thing.
It's true. Crowley was very into sex magic.
Crowley was very into sex magic with the servants.
With pretty much anybody who was willing.
Anyone? Yeah,
Anyone.
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 Take that how you wanna.
I read an account and I was just like, what?
A man was wild, and he was not attractive. I don't know how he made.
I was just looking at him like, you gotta be kidding.
Like, ew.
Like,
It's
that's.
like he was like the Ron Jeremy of his day.
I feel like Ron Jeremy's better looking.
But the same kind of concept.
Yeah, I mean,
Ron Jeremy looks like an Italian plumber. Um,
he does look like he'd be in some sexy Mario video.
yeah.
You started that one. You opened the door,
You always gotta just plunge through it with.
and there you go, making plumber jokes.
And
Yeah.
so,
On that
yeah,
note,
so we're done for now.
yeah. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. Say good night, Susie.
Good night, Susie.
Bye.